This was over Pakistan. Finally, somebody asked, what is it? I'm going to leave you in mystery for a second. Let you kind of think about what we've been talking about, we might see. Think magnetics. Told you pressure builds up, and if we don't get a good release, we could possibly see a plasma discharge out of the planet emitting plasma. See it emitting from the ground? See, it's coming out of the ground. Plasma discharge from the planet. All right. Howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. All right. Plasma discharge coming out of the planet. When we have big buildup and we don't see it released in the form of like earthquakes or volcanoes or something like that. I warned you we might see a plasma discharge out of the planet. I was thinking more in the form of lightning, but this is, well, for lack of a better term, the planet emitting aurora. It's not like aurora coming from the sun. We're emitting gamma rays. Okay, the battery's overcharged. And this is, this is an example of plasma discharge that I was talking about. We'll come back at the end of the show and visit this some more. So for right now, let's hop into our show. First of all, while we're sitting here, I'd like to thank you all for taking a moment of your precious time to be here with this precious family. And I need to make a little adjustment here. Here we go. Okay, third one's a charm. It's sitting right in front of you. Can you see it? Here's our third one. Boom, right there. Okay, and we're getting to see the first half of it, or the front half of it. There's the moon right here. It's satellite that's got all the plasma wrapped around it right here. Okay, and that, remember last night I was saying, when we see the first big one, usually there's 3 of them, and we saw the second one last night. And I talked about we'll see the third one here pretty soon. And voila, here is the third one. Now let me go ahead and just start this, put it into motion here and let you guys kind of see the loop. This is May 29th, 2024. Okay. And we got the loop playing there, and not all the data is there. All right. Some of it's missing, but we got enough. We got enough to capture the object there. And you see this little moon, this little satellite moon interact with the sun first because it's orbiting this bigger one. So it's a little further out. So it interacts first, and then here comes the big one. Okay, so let me just kind of pause it on the opening frame, and we'll go through this. Okay, so we end at 21:48 as well. Okay, opening frame 024, May 29th, 2024. Okay, we can see we have something kind of going on over here, maybe over here as well, but main thing is going on right here. Our object looks to be right about here, stretching some plasma back. There might be a couple others, but that's the ongoing event that's exiting the screen as we get into this day. Over here on this side, you can see the last little one bathed in plasma right there. Probably this one right here. Okay, so it looks to be there's one out in front and maybe this one right there, okay? And that's our opening frame. Now, as we go through the day, that exits the frame. We have the halo CME right there. You see that halo? Hopefully that's coming off the backside, but we'll see, because I think it's heading our way. When I looked at the tracker, this is probably our first one. This almost looks to be something a little disc shaped. Anyway, there's your full halo right there. It didn't register on the instrumentation, so maybe it was going away, but here comes that little one out of the side. That's the little moon one that's the orbiting further out away from the main object. And you can see plasma going around it faster than it's moving out. Okay, then here comes our big one. Bing, boom. And look at the spread. You can see our conical cone-shaped spread spreading out, bending, going over something here. Back up a few. You can even see right here, it's already stretching out for the magnetic field as it passes by. Let's see right here. Over on this side here, you can see our little satellite right here, probably coming out with it. And then, whoops, our main object stretched right there. It would be going off the screen a little bit and coming back on. I think maybe we did this. Help you see it maybe just a tad bit better. Right there. All right. And the plasma's hitting it, spreading out, going around it. You see it's stretched out over its magnetic, stretched out for the magnetic field. All right. So there's that. Let me go a couple frames back because these are the only frames we really get here. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so last frame right here. I think you make out right here a little dark moon, one right there. Looks to be a couple other little things around it. You know what might help too is, let me try this. Darken it just a tad and then go like that. All right, there we go. That might capture just a tad bit better. All right. So there's our third big object right there. I knew there was another one coming because the last time 4 or 5 times we've interacted with this, it's been 3 in a row. So I saw the first big one, and then I thought, uh-oh, we're going to see a second. Sure enough, it showed up. I knew we're going to see the third one then. And there it is. Third one's a charm. Okay, there's the last remaining frames of some trailing little moons or satellites that are following the main one. And then that was it. We end at 2148, so we're missing a little data there as well. I'm going to slow this down a little bit and then start it. Whoops. Going that way. And then let's see if we capture it just a tad bit better right here. Yeah, I wish we had the rest so we could see it move out of frame. I bet you those missing frames right there are just priceless. But it's enough. We can see the spread. We can see the flow. We can see the other satellites, interacting first, orbiting the bigger one right there, and then trailing ones as well. This one over here was interacting first. So we have this one. We got other little ones, this one. So there are all kinds of other ones accompanying the bigger one. And this is the one that I first saw back in September of 2017. This is the one that God pointed out as Nibiru and Nemesis, or the dragon. The dragon of Revelation 12 is that object right there. All right, it was the third one because there were 3 X-class flares that week. And the third X flare was the one that had this. That's where I first saw this object, was in the third flare. And I'm taking it that, hopefully it's the same orientation maybe. And that's our third object right there. Okay, so we've got all that going. We've seen that. Let's get on over to Solar Ham here and brighten up the screen a tad bit more. All right, so it caused an X flare. All right, it wasn't a very strong one, but it was a long duration one. Okay, so long duration, even if it wasn't very powerful, means a lot of energy that we absorbed. So we're just going to get on in there and zoom in on it. There we go. Scoot it on over. Pull it up. Now, even though it says yesterday, that was today. We're a little bit going into the next day on the UTC clock. So there's our long duration. And you see the little kick right after it. See, it was descending and then it kicked again. It's another little planetoid right there that interacted. All right. And after that, it's been declining. Little hop right there, but very quiet afterwards. And maybe will be for a little bit because that was our third one. Now, we might see activity out of the sunspot on other kind of a different kind of activity, not object-induced activity, but activity coming out of our sunspot because it's so, well, irritated and magnetically complex now. So, looking at this map, our X flare potential has jumped again up to 35%. Okay, our X flare today was X 1.4 and it was out of 97. Okay, I want you to remember 97 is old 64. Okay, and we were talking about how we'll be seeing activity out of region 91 and 97. Well, look at here 91, 91, 91, 97, 97. Okay, so now we're seeing the activity out of them. X flare potential has jumped. Our indices have jumped. We're going up to 171. So it's still our indices are climbing a little bit. Now, here in our geomagnetic forecasts, they're calling clear for tomorrow, but now we're looking at two G2 storms, the 31st and the 1st, back to back. That will be energy that we'll be absorbing again. Not good. That could cause more plasma discharges, volcanoes, earthquakes, fissures opening up, all kinds of great stuff. The Schumann locking up and screaming and grinding. Okay, so the next couple of days, not tomorrow, but starting 31st and the 1st, we're due to have some energy. And then this is going to translate over to our weather forecast too. Enhancement of storms on 31st and the 1st. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind as we get to the weather forecast. Now, scrolling on down, let's open up the KP here real quick. You can see it's been pretty quiet, really quiet lately, and nothing above 3, which is good. We don't need to be taking on a bunch of more energy right now. The plasma's, or the Earth is spitting out plasma discharge. Here's your auroras right here, kind of mild. Nothing too special. That's good news. Also, I just want to touch base here. Now, 91 is beta gamma delta, and check out 97. It's now beta gamma delta. We got 2 of them. The 2 big ones are both in the dangerous configuration that causes X flares. So, just because we saw our 3rd big object does not mean our X flaring is over. And you would think it would mean that, but it doesn't. We'll see, though. Hopefully I'm wrong there. I would love to be wrong on that one. I would love to say that 3rd one passed. It's all clear for the next month. But we still got these big bad boys rotating around Earth directed facing us. Okay, so let's get into the article. NOAA appears to show that the CME associated with the X 1.4 flare will earlier today pass. The flare earlier today will pass close enough to Earth to possibly generate the moderate G2. Just get the real tracker going here. Give it a second. It's loading up here. Chat amongst yourselves. Yeah, there you go. That's why there's a chat room. Oh, so you can chat amongst yourselves while my computer's jammed up. No. We're just waiting for this. Now we got to load up the movie. There it goes. Okay. I'll leave it right there for a second. Let her play. Come on now, you can do it. Looking down on the solar system, a side cut. So it's going to graze us. And it's not going to go south. It's going to clip us. So let that play again. And they're calling for it like right on the cusp of the 1st. So the 31st, 1st, we're going to get hit just a little edge, glancing blow of the edge. But you remember what that's done before? We've gotten these glancing blows that were supposed to be a G1 and ended up being a G3. All right, so now I think they're taking a little more a little more aggressive, not aggressive, but a better approach when they say G2. All right, because we probably are going to see a G2 out of this. This doesn't represent it properly. Well, there's 2 different models. You can see even though it's still going to interact with our magnetic field line. We're still going to get a jolt out of it. All right. And we saw the light coming out of it, heading towards us. So we're going to get some out of it. That thing, I think, is just to keep people happy. Oh, that's where I was going. Now let's pull this open real quick. Here we go. Here's 91, center disk in the northern hemisphere. Here's 97, southern disk, southern half, southern hemisphere, the left quadrant. All right. It's still got this whole next 2 weeks to rotate all the way across and all the way around to the limb. This one's already like a week into it, and got another week or so to go until it finishes. All right. Luckily, these two got good separation, because last time they were close, remember we had instead of a one arc here, the arc jumped from one complex to another. That was a month or so ago. But here we are. At least they're further apart, and they're very complex. We got beta, gamma, delta configuration, and here. Okay, so both of them are very dangerous. And that's their location. We still got a ways to go with this one and a long ways to go with that one. And this is the one that just hit us. So if it's this quadrant, anything coming out of it's still going to be in our direction. If we can see it, we're still going to get some of it. Line of sight. Okay. No, here, solar activity continues at high levels today with AR91 getting into the flare action as well. New M flares, including an M57, were detected. So far, none of those flares appear to be eruptive. Speaking of eruptive, though, the long duration X1.4 flare event around 3697, the old 64, did produce an energetic CME that was directed mostly towards the east and away from Earth. Only a glancing blow at best should be expected within 72 hours. The chances for an Earth-directed eruption will increase. I repeat, the chances for an Earth-directed eruption will increase with each passing day. As the active sunspot regions, plural it should say, turn into a better geo-effective position. And there's the northern one right there, and the other one's down in the southern quadrant. And when we look at the sun, here, let me just show you really quick. You guys, really quick. We're positioned below the equator of the sun. We're not right in the middle of the galactic plane. All right, our planet is a little bit lower than the equatorial plane of the sun. So anything in the southern region of the sun is going to affect us more than something up the northern. All right, so we saw the tracker. We did all the articles. Also, this one right here, long duration M1 X1.4 flare was observed around 97. This event is associated with a type 2 radio emissions with an estimated velocity of 878 kilometers per second. It's hauling ass. A coronal mass ejection, CME, is now just becoming visible in updated imagery and should be mostly directed towards the east. Okay, cool. There's what it looked like leaving last time. It was this big old nasty rash. It looked like the Carrington event sunspot. Remember, there was a drawing of the Carrington event right next to it, and it looked very similar. Now, after rotating around, it's looking a little weaker, but we've shown you as it rotates towards us, it gains in strength and composure. All right, so let's get on over here to spaceweather.com now. The quirky sunspot naming traditions, the most famous sunspot in decades, just had its name changed. 64, which caused the great May 10th superstorm, has been renumbered 97 following a 2-week trip around the far side of the sun. This is an old tradition in solar physics that started long ago when astronomers had no way to track the continuity of far side sunspots. We will continue to use the old name for clarity. Okay, another X flare out of old 64 isn't as big as it used to be, but it is still very active. Okay, it produced X1.4. Now, a lengthy pulse of extreme ultraviolet radiation produced a deep shortwave radio blackout over the Americas. Ham radio operators may have noticed loss of signal at frequencies below 30 megahertz for up to 60 to 90 minutes following the onset of the flare. This explosion was remarkable for its duration. Okay, it's a longer duration one. So we took X flares. It wasn't just a quick snapshot, like you get an X-ray at the lab and they hit the plunger really quick and it goes click and you got one little short blast of X-rays. Nah, somebody left the shutter wide open for, I don't know, like an hour. So we just got pelted with X-rays, a long duration X-ray event. All right, so you guys are probably feeling a little fried. The X-class phase, all right, the X-class phase alone lasted more than an hour, plenty of time to lift a CME off the sun's atmosphere. All right, so you got pummeled with X-rays for an hour today. What else? Oh, wait. That was plenty of time to lift the CME off the atmosphere. Indeed so. Chronographs have detected a bright CME emerging from the blast site. The movie we'll find out. Let's just see what this little movie might be. Okay, cool. Let it go further. We want to see it extend over the object. All right, well, we'll come back to it tomorrow. They'll have more of it. All right, and here it is. Camera is supposedly adjusting at the time, doing its calibration. Note, the jiggling of the sun in this movie is not caused by the X flare. Calibration offsets were underway during the flare. Dang, what's some timing? That is just, and usually the camera kind of goes 45 degrees for a second, when it's recalibrating. Just kind of incidental. It happened to be recalibrating the moment the first impact come off. So the jiggling of the sun in this movie is not caused by the X flare. Calibration offsets were underway during the flare. No credit NASA Solar Dynamics. All right, I'll let you be the judge of that. They do adjust it all the time. But how opportunity at the same time it was doing that, huh? I'll let you be the judge of that too. Okay, let's get on over here to our Schumann now. Here we've had continuity for a while. Yesterday, we had this little blast. It tapered off. Again, we had more grinding here again. We've taken on a lot of energy. There's a lot of pressure going on down below. This time it was intense, and the intensity tapered off. It didn't just drop off suddenly, bing, like this. See how this one tapers off? This one tapered off as well. We got a little weakness afterwards, but then we go back to kind of normal. Little tiny scrape right there. And this little mark right here is interesting. This is down at 24. A little check mark right there at 24. Interesting. But we had pressure. It gradually relieved, and then we had the regular continuity for a minute. Over on my favorite part of the stream. Okay, good. Now, after this, you guys are probably experiencing, not only do we get blasted with X-rays from the sun today, but we're also getting, hit by radio waves from our planet. All right, so back to normal for a little bit, thankfully. That's good news right there. But indication that pressure built up and then was relieved, okay? And I think maybe one of these relief sessions that we saw, and yet there wasn't like a corresponding big blast. Well, sometimes there is, or a big quake or something. We took on a lot of energy from that G5 magnetic storm, okay? And from what I've seen coming out of the planet so far, I thought, we've relieved pressure. We've opened up a couple new perforations in the crust. There's new relief points and stuff. But then we see that plasma dancing like this over, this was over Pakistan. And here, it's connected to the ground, okay? There's a big solid beam of it coming up, right up out of the ground. It's emanating up to the air, dancing around, splitting up and everything. All right. And then you see those legs drop down into the town. Whoops. And that's because we had so much energy built up. Instead of coming out of the ground in form of like lightning, we have the plasma discharge like that. All right. We'll come back to that in a little bit here. Whoops. Back over here. So right now, back to normal. We shouldn't have any more plasma discharges. Our normal volcanic activity, normal earthquake activity should for a little while until we get more pressure. And then when these next round of storms come in, G2 on the 31st and G2 on the 1st, well, that's gonna, a day or so later, will cause, depending on well, how close the boundaries are, we'll see more grinding again, which will cause more effects. It's just this, cycle over and over of cause and effect, cause and effect, and cause and effect. And it's, I mean, we've been watching it for a while and documenting it. Like, it's so much documentation on this, how this works. It's like, how could you deny it anymore? You know? Anyway, we'll get back to this. Over here, you can see our pattern has changed a little bit. The big hoop going way up there and then diving back down. Well, our southern flow here, remember we had our three little balls or spheres kind of lined up there, dispersing stuff. Notice how it's kind of gone now, and it's just a big ridge. All right, a little air is creeping over, but the mixing, where cold air and warm air slam together, the hot cocktail, which I like to refer to it as, is way east now. It's not happening over here. It's not happening in the middle part of the country. It's way east now. So that's your upper jet stream. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean everything, but that's your upper jet stream affecting your lower jet. You see the correlation there. All right. You see, we still have this big high ridge in the lower jet stream. Okay. Then we'll go down to where our storms are. Okay. Now, it looks a little different, but there's a correlation there. The storm going up through there, our lower jet right here, and the way it's flowing up like this and going down is causing the air down below to do this. There's your storm right there. There's your air pattern coming off of the Gulf still. Really warm, hot water in the Gulf getting streamed right up across the plains up into here and then slamming back down and meeting with air, making that little cocktail over there as well. Over here, we have just this huge rotation where stuff approaches the Pacific coast, but then doesn't go inland. It rotates and goes back out. So we had this little ridge of high pressure right here built up for a while. And it's keeping this region of the country kind of free and clear of weather while everybody else is getting weird stuff. Now, what the is that? Yeah. I got to do something here. Okay, you guys. Don't look. Oh, no, you should look. There's your upper jet or your lower jet stream. There's your upper jet stream right there. This big old storm right here is connected to the upper jet stream. Let's see if it's even part of the vortex. Nope. Nope. So your upper jet stream, this flow, whatever's right here, causing this strange little hook in the flow right here. That is just weird. Okay, now what I was going to do is go back down to the surface, because that's one big old storm off the Kamchatka Peninsula right there. And that's down at storm level. Something big is brewing off the Kamchatka right there. Now, when I see this and this right here, this is the same kind of configuration we had vortex wise when this object passed through before. We seem to get these two very powerful vortexes, one bigger than the other, when these things pass by the planet. They're connecting up with our atmosphere, because that's a huge, powerful storm way up there during the springtime. All right, now let's get what the uh-oh. Okay, we're going to hold that right there. I want to come on over and we're going to switch. Where's these blue things go away? Yeah, there we go. Now, no. We're going to go to the chemicals really quick. To the chemicals, check out our SO2, take off the wind, come over here, slide it on over, zoom on in. All right, here we are. Country divided, bleeding out on one side over here. Clear, kind of patchy over on this side. And then as we look in here, you can see the flooding in this region again has caused all the patchiness right here where the gas is not. Oh, the anomaly, we'll check it. Yeah, we can go check that too. Oh, maybe we're talking to somebody. But right here, you can tell our flooding has dampened the activity in the area. And then the holes in the surrounding area tend to flare up a little more when something else is plugged up. Just like, say, if you had 4 holes in the balloon, 2 of them are really close to each other. You plug up one of those, more air is going to come out of the other one. So we see pressure increase around this. But looking up here, you can see we have, a lot of pressure going on. There's this dark spot right here, right above the Great Lakes, right here in Canada. Further up here, we got these. Let's go over. Look at that line right down the middle. All right, I was just kind of looking here at the West Coast a little bit. We got this plume still coming out of the Bay Area, right? North Bay right there, pretty strong and dark. Come over here, check out Hawaii, Oahu, Maui, main islands got a little coming out of it as well. Come on over here, adjust for their daytime. And there we go. So a lot of pressure in that region as well. Let's click down here. Okay. 2 good spots right here. Bing, bing. Those are our 2 volcanoes right there spewing lots of SO2 out of there. That's good. That's our relief valve doing its job. A lot coming out of that region up there in Malaysia. That's probably why we haven't seen a lot of quake activity on this side of Sumatra in this region over here, is because a lot of pressure is being relieved at that spot. That spot of Malaysia as well. You can see India's got its issues. Saudi Arabia has their issues. Europe. This whole area looks like it got hit with a shotgun blast, like a side of beef that got hit with a shotgun blast or something. Just very peppered looking. South America too, or South Africa too, my bad. Let me come over here, just back to our time again. Oops. Right there. Okay. Yeah, that's the same one. Okay, fulcrum point spot, nice and defined. We got 2 out of 3. The third one's pretty faint right back in there, and then our new little spot right here still hanging out. So relatively pretty decent pressure going on, at least being relieved in this area. You can see our purple line. Remember, it was really thin. Well, the top part filling in up here again, down here getting filled in again. It's not as dark in this region, but a lot of pressure, a lot of SO2 coming out of that region, pressure being relieved. It's a good thing because we might, see a big quake out here. This relieves that pressure and keeps that from happening. So they're kind of doing its job, venting pressure, but this is SO2. This is coming out of the ground. It's the gas that surrounds the lava down below. Now we want to come over to our sandstorm. With our winds, do we still have the winds at the same level? Yeah. Whoops. 850. There we go. Now, the SO2. There we go. Whoops. Now the sand. There we go. With the right wind currents. All right, so still our big plume on the North Africa, blowing across the Atlantic there. We got little concentrated patches north up here, Turkey region, Iran region, Caspian Sea region. Of course, the Gobi Desert still has its ongoing sandstorm. And when these bigger objects kind of pass by Earth, their electromagnetic, their electrostatic charges our atmosphere. It charges, electrostatically charges the sand, which is silica. Silica can hold an electric charge. That's why they use silica in your computer chips. Okay, so sand is silica and it can hold an electric charge. When it gets charged, it gets light, not necessarily lighter than air, but it gets much lighter than usual and gets kicked up by wind a lot easier. Mix that with the increase in winds around the world that we'll continue to see is just a cocktail again, mixture for sandstorms. And that's why we see sandstorms in the wintertime now. There is good energy. May not be the anomaly, but there is good energy around there somewhere if you know where to look. All right, let's get back on to the ocean. I want to check this real quick. All right, please, Lord. Give the audience strength. Okay, here we go. Oh, we better adjust the calendar too because I want to get the right date. See, that's on the 24th. We're the 30th now. Can we get the 30th? That's the 28th. So I think last night we were able to get the 27th, and tonight we're able to get the 28th. So these readings might be a couple of days behind, but we'll have to take what we can get. All right, now before we get into that spot right here, let's get our regular part done here. We still have this hot patch off the coast of Japan, something, volcanic activity under the water producing a heat plume around there. You can see it all happening off the coast of Japan here as well. Now we come into Taiwan. This is where I want to look at. Taiwan was all surrounded by yellow a long time ago until it had its big quake and its new little relief valve, its puncture spot, its perforation started, kicking into gear and it became a relief valve. And since then, we've been seeing a lot of earthquake activity at the fulcrum point right here. Our water surrounding it has cooled down and now we have cold water inundation. Remember the other night, there was none at the northern tip. Now look, it's looped all the way around. There we go. It's looped all the way around, so there's just barely some warm water right off the coast right there. So this relief valve doing its job. That's good. Now, what I want to do is I want to come down here. Java, cold water inundation, relief valve doing its job. Okay, now as we come back over to here, dang. All right, first we had Tamumasi turning red, turning orange, getting some yellow in it. This spot over here started to show up red, turned orange, had some yellow in it. We had two yellow spots, one here, one here. The gap in the middle between those two yellow spots has now filled in. And now what I see is spreading down this way. All right, so before it was just this one little spot. Now look at it. And what we can do here, we're going to pull up the calendar here. Now everybody hold your breath. Hold on tight. We're going to have to do this, but I hate to do this, but we're just going to have to do it. So here's 3 weeks ago on the 6th. There it goes. All right, notice the difference. Here we had our single patch out here that was, red, starting to get yellow in it. Here was our other patch. There was this division in between the two areas. This was an independent area 3 weeks ago. When it comes to this, well, which would be the 27th, we're a couple of days shy, but that's because of data. Now, you're looking at this region when I hit OK. That's how much it's increased in 3 weeks. What do you think is going to happen in another 3 weeks? Another month? Don't worry about it. Just know what's going on, okay? These are all signs. These are all indicators of something else, okay? When we look at this, it's not to be scared. This is all showing you that something else is true, okay? Now, as we get into this region here, look at how hot the water's getting here in the Gulf. Probably fires out here in the Gulf, and they're not telling us. I bet there is, dude. But we got hot water right here in this area, which is going to be pumping. When I showed you the wind surface maps, it was pumping air, or the wind was pumping right up through there. So we have very moist, very warm waters in the Gulf this year already. It's not even summer. It's May 30th. First day of summer is June 21st. We still got a ways to go. And look how much hot water there is in the northern hemisphere at May 30th. Well, this is actually the 27th, so it was a couple of days behind. Now, when we look at this area, we're starting to get hot water off the coast right here, hot water out here in the middle. This is going to make for a hurricane season like unlike any other. I pray that this sandstorm intensifies. Whoops. Where'd it go? Particulate sand. There we go. I pray that this intensifies and blows so much sand out into the ocean that it disrupts that this ocean temperature anomaly that's going to be producing a lot of hurricanes. I hate to say it, but you guys are looking at it. Okay, let's do something else too. Here's your anomaly. Here's your standard surface temperature. at your regular temperatures, but you got that going on instead. Okay, something we'll have to continue monitoring. Maybe time to back away from the coasts. Okay, let's carry on now and get on with our earthquake report here. Brian, maybe the ground you saw in Nevada spewing heat is doing it underwater too. Oh yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's doing it more underwater than it is above land because there's more surface area of the planet is underwater. More of the surface area of the crust of the planet is covered with water than isn't. All right, so the surface area of sticking up above the water is this much, but there's a lot more surface area out in the in the oceans. So there's way more activity out in the oceans than we see on land. Just because of the sheer volume. That just the difference. There's what 1/3 land and 2/3 water. So you're seeing only 1/3 of the activity. Now, great question. I love good questions like that. Because other people got that same question. And some people are afraid to ask it, and it's good to ask those questions because maybe somebody else needed to hear that answer too. So there's never a dumb question because somebody else may need to hear the answer too. Okay. No deep activity today. Yesterday we saw several we saw two deep fives, and then some other semi-deep quake activity along this route. Now today, very quiet as far as deep quakes, but look what's going on here. We got a 5.2 at 35. We come up to the beginning of this system, a 5 right there at the surface. There's a 4.2 down at 107. Get up here to our fulcrum point. Come here, get off there. Please. Okay, we have two quakes here. First one is a 4.7 down at 31 and a 4.8 at 22. So add these two quakes together. There's some energy being relieved out of the fulcrum point, keeping the pressure doing its job as a relief valve right there. Just south of Japan on this plate right here, you can see just inside, there's a fulcrum point right here in the plate boundary. But inside this structure, you can see the mountain ridges, the mountain valleys right here. There's a fulcrum point right there. So right behind it, inside fulcrum, sometimes like, say if you had the teeter-totter and you had one kid on one end and one kid on the other, and they were both too heavy for the teeter-totter and they hurt the fulcrum. Instead of smashing the board, instead of bending the board that's teeter-tottering, it came down and crushed the fulcrum point a little bit and pops out a 5.4 down at 380. This is not a surface quake. This is down underneath this plate right here. This is a fulcrum point quake. It's just way down in there at 380. So it's not a super deep quake, but it is a little bit more than midway down. So let's say 600's the bottom and 10 being the top. Well, we're right a little bit past the middle at 380. That's a significant quake right there. It's something going on here. There's plate tectonics moving around. There's lava moving around, shifting this plate a little bit. Note how we have no big quakes in this region now. We have the 4 volcanoes going on up there, but we did see a decent quake out of that region the other day. Plate boundary quake right here, a 5.4. 5.4. 5.4. Same energy on this side, 94 is the depth. Very quiet in this region, very quiet fulcrum point wise, and all these plate boundaries are very quiet. That's Italy having that 4.2 right here. Please tell me it's going to be close. No. Not even. Dang it. I was hoping it was going to be on the plate boundary, but what's going on here? Yeah, it's a depth of 10. Huh. Please let me have this one. Where are we here? There it is. We don't want this thing going off right there. Okay, there's a lot of people surrounding this area. A lot of people with a big old volcano right in the middle of it. All right, that's what I'm kind of worried about happening here. So it's good that we see activity in the region down here. Here's our concern right here. So there is pressure in the region. It's being vented down here, which is good. I'd much rather see it in a less populated area, but we need a lot more coming out, like plate boundary wise, relieving pressure in this area, because it's at the surface, which is good enough, I guess. 4.2. We'll watch it closely. That area. Oh boy, how do we say this? You don't. Okay, I won't then. Now let's get on over here to America, and I need to pop open all magnitudes here. Okay, nothing really came up and came over. This is 3.5, huh? 2.7 looks like it made it over, and fulcrum point 2.4. Bingo. So you saw what I just pointed out there. We had some energy came over. It's still residual up here. Made it over to the fulcrum point and popped off this. This is my guide for measurement sometimes. So 2.7, anywhere between 3.5 to 2.7, coming down through Juan de Fuca, hitting it at the junction here, our fulcrum point, and we got, boom, 2.4. So, and just a little further south inland right here, this might catch a tad bit of it. 2.4. Oh, at the surface, yeah. So a little bit of pressure came in, but it handled it right there. Something else I want to check is the geysers here, because it was quite the relief valve for a while. And here we are at it, and only 3 quakes out of the geysers today. Yeah, just a few little small microquakes. So this relief valve has calmed down, which sometimes is good news, but then maybe we're not relieving pressure enough in that region, and we're getting quakes down here by the Bay Area now. That's a 1.6. It's nothing to be worried about, but the fact that we're seeing activity along this fault structure right here, let me zoom in just a tad bit better here. No, right back. Okay. Running parallel. A lot of these faults are compression mountains that, plate pushes like this. This one's pushing, one of them buckles and creates little, like ripples in front of this. When you got a snow plow or you're shoveling snow, you'll see little ripples build up in the snow right before the blade hits it, right? They're pressure waves. Well, running parallel with this fault line running through there. And we've seen a couple, bing, 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 running down there. So when this activity ceases, we start to see a little more activity through here. It's not ceases, just diminishes, okay? Ceases, but, we'd see more activity if it ceased. Okay, you can see out here our activity in Texas, same up here in Oklahoma, yeah, but here we are, New Madrid, 2.4. Yep, right on the right on the corner right here. There's a little apex and go back down. But little 2.4 out here reminding you, hey, this area can still move. 2.1, that was, we don't care about. All right, and then nothing around New York still. That's good. All right, let's come on down. This is a little odd place now. We don't see them right through here too often. It's right next to our fulcrum here on a plate boundary. Come here, yo. It's a 4.3 at 10, so there's some pressure being released. It's also indication that pressure was traveling up this way. There's a red one right there, 2.5. Okay, so we did have a little southern pressure come up through here. Bing, bing, bing. 4.5 at the surface there. Please, that was it. 4.2 at Peru, fulcrum point quake. Right here, 4.6 at 119. And then the rest of it nice and quiet. All right, yeah, that's your earthquake report. Nothing hiding up at the top of the world. All right, good. Now, let's take out that one and that one. I'll pull up the volcano report real quick here. There we go. Okay, 32 erupting, 26 in unrest. Oh, you can't see that. Just let this load up. All right, here we go. Today, May 30th, 2024. There's Semeru volcano right there. That's our 15,000 foot blaster every day. Our main relief valve right there on Java. Reykjanes also erupted. Oh, yeah, the whole curtain went up today. Volcanic ash advisory, effusive lava eruption. Okay, that whole fissure opened up again and now is fountaining. Semeru, 15,000. That's its maximum. Okay, so pressure there. Fuego, 16, even higher than Semeru. Fuego at 16, so pressure there. Sabancaya, continuous ash emissions. Let's get into the 29th. Wow, close. The article, please. Lord, do we have the article here? There we go. Click to block ads. Well, so Reykjanes, the risk assessment has been updated due to the ongoing eruption. The risk assessment has been updated due to the ongoing eruption. Yes, we have an ongoing eruption. Put Reykjanes back on the list. That was kind of an easy one to see. We should have called that one like a week ago, huh? But look at that. That's a fissure in the ground. That's a crack in the crust of the surface. And here's a bunch of blood, guts, lava spewing out of the core of the planet. Look at that. That's huge. Okay. So Reykjanes has gone off again. Good, because it'll diffuse a lot of pressure. It'll help put a lot of pressure. This is almost better than some of the other volcanoes because look at that huge fissure. Some volcanoes are just one little spatter cone like this. This is a bunch of them. So there's a lot of pressure coming out and being diffused through this eruption, through this big curtain effect. Okay. Now, Ibu here was 18,000 feet today. Luatobi was 7,000. Semeru, 14. We already saw 14, 15 later today. Ducono, 10,000. Popocatépetl, 19. Santa Guido, 14. Fuego, 16. Sangay 19. Reventador, they're huge blasts, every single one of them. Sabankaya 24. Okay, so here's your currently erupting and minor activity. Barren Island, Bizamani, Dacono, Ebico, Erebus. Watch out for Etna, possibly. Cotopaxi. Oh, and Concepcion. That was a new one that sometimes when there's activity or pressure, our new one might come to life. Meanwhile, we still got Fernandina going off over with the lava arms. Ooh, excuse me. Sleep deprivation gets to you after a while. Fuego, Ibu, Krakatoa. Don't forget, Krakatoa is still currently active in the Sun to Strait. All right, this is the one that back when it was Krakatoa, blackened out the Earth for a year. Luatobi, Luatolo, Marapi, Messiah, Merapi, Michael in the South Sandwich Islands. Kluchevskoy should be over here. Kilauea kind of plugged up. Here's our new one, Carinci, right, that we talked about last night. Nevada del Ruiz, always having big blasts out of that. Popocatépetl, Neventador, Requejanos now on this list. Sabancaya, Sakurajima, Sangay, Santa Guido, Samaru, Shivalu, Stromboli. We got Rayong in the East Java. Watch that one. And Ruang in Sulawesi. Watch out for Stromboli. Here's a new one, Tinakula, recently new, back on the active list. It was semi-active, now it's back over on the active list. All right, so a lot of active volcanoes dealing with a lot of pressure. All right, so there's your volcano report. Now let's do our quick weather report, and then we can get on with the good stuff. Okay, go ahead and let all that data load up real quick. Yeah, Texas is going to be getting hit over and over and over and over again here. Please let that load up. All right, well, give it a sec while that's loading up here. There it goes. I'll be right back while that loads up, and then once it plays, you guys can look at it for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, here I'm back now. Oh, sorry, I had to let the cat out too. Might as well while we're doing that. Waiting for that. Okay, once it comes back around, we'll start on the first frame and get through this real quick. Yeah, a lot of over and over in Texas here. Everybody in the state of Texas, get ready because you're just going to be over and over again. So current conditions at nighttime of the 29th, you see this just straight line with all these different little spots along the way. There's the morning of the 30th, noon, convection, all right? The convection tomorrow here in Kansas, down in Texas, Oklahoma area, watch out there. Then by nighttime, severe weather in Texas, all right? Right here on the Louisiana-Arkansas border, Texarkana right there, watch out. Even creeping up in here into Missouri. even this area, you don't see anything in it, but that could any place from now, we got to watch carefully. So that's the nighttime of the 30th. Let me go back through this because this is going to be the next few hours here, this next day. So already scattered severe weather, little pockets. Noon will be, or the morning time will be the safest. Noon, a little bit of pop-ups. Then by convection, there we go. And then nighttime. Going into the morning of the 31st. So, nighttime, morning. This is where it catches people asleep and people get killed. Everybody in Texas, you're going to need to start paying attention. This is going to be devastating. That's the morning of the 31st, noontime, convection, nighttime. You see how this thing's swirling like a tight little low center, like a little storm itself? Morning of the 1st, noon, convection, nighttime, Texas. Up here as well. Anywhere along this band. See these little pop-ups here? These discrete little supercells are what we worry about. And now this is the layout for them. Nighttime the 1st, morning of the 2nd, noon, convection, nighttime. Look at this, severe weather hitting the coast of Oregon, Washington, Seattle, Puget Sound area. That'll be the nighttime of the 2nd, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota area. Watch out there, even down into Arkansas there. That'll be the morning of the 3rd. Wow. Noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 4th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 5th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 6th, noon. Ooh, look out there, noon the 6th. Convection, convection the 6th. That's New York. That'll be NASA. It could knock out power and stuff. Nighttime, look at that. Starting in the noontime, convection, nighttime, right over New York City, right there. Morning of the 7th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 8th, noon. Oh, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 9th. All right, we'll just kind of go, what was that? This is so far out in advance that we just kind of go through it a little bit. You can come over to this instrument as well and look through it. I suggest you do every once in a while. All right. Now, we had G2 energy coming in on, what was it, the 30th and the 1st? What did you guys say again? No. The 31st and the 1st. The 31st and the 1st. Okay. There's the 31st. The morning of the 31st, right here, added energy from a G2 onto the morning activity there. Remember, it did this from convection, nighttime in Texas, to the morning of the 31st. Add some energy possibly to that, and to that, and to that. Add energy to that, that. Add energy to that, and to that. Because that was the 31st and the 1st. That's the nighttime of the 1st. Now, depending on if we still have more activity, we'll see. But those are the 2 days that we'll could possibly see a tad bit of enhancement of weather that's already there. Enhancement of that would be terrible. So let's pray that doesn't happen. Let's pray I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. All right, so the next 24, 48 hours here in Texas, everybody hold on tight. Be aware of your weather conditions. They're going to be changing. Nighttime, starting the morning of the 30th, clouds building by noon, building By convection, it's showing here in Oklahoma and up here in Kansas, little spots right around here. But with this sphere activity that we've seen enhancing our weather as well, there's another player to add, as well as the energy from the sun. So, going to be a very, very volatile mix. And what I mean by volatile is it could be here, it could be there, it could fire up really quick, or it could not happen at all. That's volatility. Okay, it could be extreme, nothing, and extreme and extreme. All right, so very, very hard to predict. It's very iffy. So these are just standards to kind of go by, not necessarily direct locations. Okay, and that's what's been catching people off guard as well. Is we see a target area, a hatch area in our forecast models. And everybody's like focusing, and that's where it's going to happen. And the storm will shift by just 100 miles, the center of the storm, like say the center of this eye or whatever. If that moves just 100 miles, well, it moves the whole storm 200 or shifts it this way or down this way or backs it up. It's the fact that we have this moisture now, this hot flow, hot, moist air coming up through here. Any kind of air coming across the country runs into this hot air coming up. So locations can be iffy. That's volatility as well. So we used to be pretty accurate at that's where it's going to be at that time of day. It might be just ahead of this. So when you're looking at time frames, it could happen a little sooner, or it could happen just a tad bit later. There were days when storm chasers were out there. It was a big hatch day, and nothing happened, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's a dud," and they turned around to go home, and it turned out being a nocturnal event that just cleaned house. People are dying. This stuff is important. I'm trying to help convey these messages. You guys can help by conveying them as well to friends and family. We're trying to save lives. We're trying to keep people from harm's way and suffering, pain, and hardship and loss. Okay. It's going to be pretty nasty the night of the 30th in Texas, going into the morning hours of the 31st. That could hit Houston, Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area right there in the morning hours when everybody's sleeping. You've seen what happened to Houston when the storm like this went rolling through. Okay. Time to take this stuff seriously. And when we see big volcanic blasts like this, every single day, these blasts are putting more ash up into the air. Every particle of ash that goes up, no matter how big or small, is a new raindrop. All right. Water will adhere to it and create a raindrop. We have now doubled the capacity, tripled the capacity, quadrupled the capacity that the air can hold water. All right. There's so much water vapor in our air, but what it needs is a particulate to cling to. Well, the more particulates you put up there, that's basically conducting all the water now. And we're seeing heavier water rainfall amounts per storm now. And this is why. Because particulates getting up into our atmosphere, mixing with our convection and everything, causing what would be one thunderhead, blossoming over the afternoon, turning into a whole storm front now because all the particulates that are in the air. It's not just that. We have SO2, we have the sandstorms, we have all kinds of particulates in our air. It's just this runaway train effect, and it's affecting our weather. And the heat plumes coming up off from underneath the ocean, conducting, making the oceans hotter, or it's going to make for more moisture in the air as well. It's just a runaway train. Okay, so There's your geophysics, astrophysics. Now it's time to everybody take a big deep breath and let's get into the metaphysics, okay? So while we're pulling all this stuff down, let me pull up an image for you to oh, you know what we can do? This is over at third phase of moon, you guys. Go over to third phase of moon. There's another thing that happened here too. In fact, should I show them that one too? Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to show that one too. So come on over to third phase, give them a thumbs up. I used to be a UFO reporter. Okay, I was the original one back in the day before anybody even knew. All right, I had UFOs following me in the daytime when I was a kid. I knew they were real at 4 years old. I've been plagued by UFOs my whole life. All right, so they're real. Anyways, this channel being one of the premier channels, some of the best captured footage comes in. And it's kind of important that you guys know that this event right here just took place over just play over Iran, over Tehran, Iran. That just flew over Tehran, the capital of Iran. See this lady? She's bending down. What the heck? Yeah. Okay. So, what do you think the people of Tehran, Iran are thinking right now when they see this buzzing over their city? Yeah, third phase of music makes their own music and stuff. They do their thing, you know. But what's important? This is a real event. Okay, this is not CGI. This is not a drone. This is them saying, "Duh, we're here. Hello." Like we're right there watching you. Crystal clear footage over Tehran, Iran, the capital. A warning shot across the bow there. Okay, that was over Tehran, Iran. Okay, and then we had this lovely event over Pakistan. Imagine looking up in the sky and you see that. It always feel like somebody's watching me? Because I am. I'm always watching you. Right through your own eyes. That's the best part. See what you see, feel what you feel, hear what you hear. Live vicariously right through you. Now, plasma discharge. When we have a planet that's a battery that's overcharged, okay, and instead of spitting out one big spark, well, you would need an antipode. There's going to be a positive and a negative pole, all right, or like a pole, all right. Well, if there's nothing for the positive to attach to, or nothing for the negative to, create a circuit, you might just get an eruption of negatively charged or positively charged, depending, just floating around, interacting with, the particles in the air, like oxygen, hydrogen. They all have electrons and protons. They all can conduct electricity. And you would see electrical currents running through the air conducted through some of the elements that the air is comprised of: nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, your basic elements. Okay, and that's not an aurora from like the sun. This is energy that's emitted by the planet. It's a plasma discharge. And that was over Pakistan. Imagine how the people of Pakistan are feeling right now when you look up in your skies and you see that. I mean, I show you faces in the clouds all the time, and that seems freaky, right? But you get used to that. So get used to this because there might be more of this coming. And everybody's baffled. What is this? Is that a creature? Is it an entity? It seems alive. Well, it does kind of seem alive because, well, I'm riding the currents. Electrical currents move. They tangle. They spiral around. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. But right here, this really strong, solid one right here goes right up to it, and it's attached down to the ground down here. Okay, so it looks fluid. Yeah, well, air moves like a fluid, and what you're looking at is like electrified air, plasma. Air in electrified state. Lightning is plasma. Is the air in electrified state. Okay, so we're going to see some activity that is, well, outside the realm of your imagination and would look very, very, very odd. Like that. See that kid trying to photobomb? All right. Now, we got that, and we had that UFO activity. Go over to the third phase, check them out, give them a thumbs up. It's not about UFOs. They're not your creator. They're the fallen ones. Okay, we all understand how that works. But it is still part of this process. And it's very important I show you this stuff to you guys so you'll understand. And then when this activity happens, you will be able to, well, you'll know what it is. Everybody else is going, what's going on there? That's got to be a this or that. Well, I warned you about this stuff before, a long time ago, a year ago. I've been talking about plasma discharge if we didn't have enough. And that's what it's probably happened plenty of times. This is just the first time people have captured it. This was over a major city in Pakistan. So okay. Plasma discharge. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for thanking me. I try to do my best for my audience, okay? And every once in a while, a nice thank you kind of helps. So I appreciate that. I've had a very hard day today, and I can't tell you about it. And just that little thank you right there kind of helped my day a little bit. So hopefully things turn out okay here, and I don't have to bring you guys bad news here. So we have our plasma discharges going off now. Spiritual report, where we're going, yes, we're going there, and we're pulling up this one. Always got to have the foundation pulled up because you will need this foundation. And my site might not last forever. They might come get me or try to do whatever they're going to try to do. So it's good that you guys get plenty of eyeful of this. Okay, this is a real event. It was excruciatingly painful to hold the camera up the whole time to take all of these pictures. It's like an hour-long event. Okay, so happened on Easter, a 2,000-year-old prophecy come true. These faces follow me around in the clouds. They follow me everywhere I go. There's UFO activity that follows me everywhere I go. In fact, what we're going to do real quick here, let me just show you another thing that's a little different here, too. Get on over to my channel and some of the sound that we hear at this channel, some of my intro music there. Come on now. Every song that I use in the intro has a code in it. If you guys understand the code and have listened for it, you will hear it, and you'll hear it in the intros when I open the show. So I was coming over here for, we had that one. What was I coming over here for? Oh. Actually, I've shown you the UFOs and stuff that haunt me, follow me, plague me, or whatever you want to call it. They study me. They watch every move I make. You think you're being watched? Whew. Wait till you got giant faces in the sky that chase you everywhere you go. Come out of the store and there's some weird entity, a cat in a hat, smiling at you from the clouds, or, some weird looking antler creature, or just weird, bizarre stuff. And I'm going to show you some of it right here. All right, now, not only do I have these UFOs that follow me, watch me, study me everywhere I go, now, and we'll just kind of open up this video real quick, let it play. See this? Folks, welcome back. There wasn't much activity on the sun to report on today, and that's good because I had a revelation last night, and I did a video on that one, and that's this one right here. And it looked like it was this actual model being pulled out from behind the sun. So I did a stream yesterday, and I was looking for a thumbnail for it. Hi, Spirit. And I couldn't match up any pictures, wouldn't match up. And it wasn't until I started digging deeper into my pictures, and I pulled up this one right here that I used as a thumbnail on my latest stream. That's when it occurred to me, this thing sitting next to this one, they're the same object. It's the same thing. It's the same craft. Whoever made this craft right here is here now. And what I thought was a man standing on the plane before is actually one of the vertical stabilizers that comes out at an angle, kind of like an F-18's vertical stabilizers. They're not straight up and down vertically, they come out at an angle. Well, much like that, so do these ones right here. And what I thought was a man standing up is this vertical stabilizer right here. Okay, so now back to this one. When I was looking at this a long time ago, I was looking at this weird kind of grasshopper type looking head, almost like a snub-nosed dragon with a mouth right here, a blunt shortened nose, 2 eyes, and this would be the head kind of looking this way. Okay, so again, the eyes, the snout, kind of a snub-nosed one with the curls back around with the mouth here. Okay. All right. How would you feel if you saw this craft flying around in the clouds following you everywhere you go? Yeah. Crazy. And this is like one of the best images I've gotten of it. Usually it's very elusive. The moment you spot it, you try to pull up the camera, it's gone. All right. So very hard to capture it. But it was actually in the background of one of my other pictures. And after noticing it there, I see it in a lot. a lot. So this actually happens to be the same craft from this, right? Can we agree here? Well, let's play it a little bit more. And I was just kind of baffled at what a weird nose. It actually looks like a creature or something like that. Okay, now in this image, this is of a different model. It has 4 wings, and you see a longer snout on it. Okay, now down below here, this is Mohim Provan. He does a Praveen Mohan. He does a very good job. You should come over to check out his channel too. He does some amazing stuff. But here he was saying, did airplanes exist 1,000 years ago? These are gold trinkets that natives made, and they made these in, well, representation or models of what they had encountered, right? And they made little trinkets or something as memorials, or, you know, in memory of this race that they encountered, this advanced race. All right. This is an advanced race that can fly. And these were 1,000-year-old objects. All right. They're in a 1,000-year-old civilization. They were, you know, exhumed from the ruins. So this civilization made trinkets because they interacted with this. Starting to see? These are advanced races from the past. Advanced races from the past that watch, follow, and study my every move. So when I was showing you some of the UFOs, there's not just UFOs. There are other advanced races that knew how to fly in the past, 1,000 years ago, that could fly 1,000 years ago, that impressed the people back then, are now here, flying around me, watching me, following me, and studying my every move. Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff. I had no idea my life was going to do this. That's the craziest stuff. And as a result, well, some people in my family have, let's just get to the reading. I got to take out some of these instruments here. So we have the visitors. No, we don't need that. But very interesting. Not only do I have UFOs that follow me everywhere I go, I also have advanced races from the past that watch, follow, and study my every move. Here, let's do this one too. Reporting on sun. I've been seeing the full screen that one for you right there. These events unfold in the sky every day now, so I've been getting lots of pictures and not even enough time to process them yet, but here we go. So this one I saw unfolding when I was driving, and I couldn't take a picture until I got to this stoplight. So I squeezed off as many pictures as I could at this stoplight, and we're going to start zooming in, pulling it over a little bit, and oops, I want to go one back. Maybe some zooming in and pulling it over a little bit. Right there. Okay, there's Yoda. With his eye, and ear coming out. There's his little chubby cheeks, stubby little chin, stubby nose, little mouth slit, his other ear. Here's his wrinkled head. There's Yoda right there in the sky. Back up a little bit. When you see it from further back, now you know what to look for. Let me back it up a little bit. And we're going to start zooming in, pulling it over. Right there, you can see it. That's a big old Yoda head over the Sierra Nevada mountains. Let me pull back just a little bit further. A little bit, stoplight. Now, look how big this Yoda head is here in the sky over the Sierra Nevada mountains. Can you see Yoda and all the clouds are kind of flaring around him? And there's this big giant Yoda head looking at me, watching me, following me, and studying my every move. So not only do I have Marian angels hanging out around me, I have advanced races from the past that watch and follow and study me. I have ascended masters that watch, follow, and study me. Because of who I am. Because of who I am. Alright, let's get some reading done, shall we? Everybody get all comfy like. Get in your spot. Take some deep breaths. We just looked at a lot of disturbing stuff there, okay? It's all really happening. This is 2,000-year-old prophecy come true. Okay, it doesn't get any better than this right here. It was excruciatingly painful to get these images, but I was through a lot of pain and endurance. I was able to manage to get them all. And what I thought I was capturing was a little different than what actually came up, because I was looking at it a lot closer. I was seeing something else just a tad bit different in the sky and was taking pictures of that the whole time. And it wasn't until I processed the pictures and, we pulled back because it was too big in your face. And when pulled back and zoomed out, all of a sudden, yeah, there's my face with a crown turning into that little lion face with a crown right there. Okay. Now, where I had something good for you guys here. Yeah. Okay, so we looked at some stuff that was very disturbing, but that's okay because we have this. We have foundation now. Okay, all that other stuff, you're going to have to look at it in a new light. Instead of being disturbing, it should be comforting. Sounds crazy, but these disasters and stuff are all signs that should be kind of comforting in a weird way. All right. And when you can find that, you can overcome that fear and see it for something different. It's a new way of looking at things. Okay. And you'll be able to find a little more peace with what's going on. So I want you to take a couple deep breaths with me here. I need to take a couple of deep breaths. Hang on. You guys do your thing. I need to take a couple of deep breaths here because it's been a hard day. Thank you, Lord. Help me. All right. Come away with me for a while. The world with its nonstop demands can be put on hold for a sec. Most people put me on hold for a sec, rationalizing that someday they will find time to focus on me. Yeah, this world with its nonstop demands, put that on hold for a minute. Breathe with me. Have peace with me for a minute. Most people end up putting me on hold, and they rationalize that someday they'll find the time to focus on me. It's your time. It's better spent focusing on me than with all your rationalizing. But the longer people push me into the background of their lives, the harder it is for them to find me. You live among people who glorify busyness. They have made time a tyrant that controls their lives. What controls their lives? This tyrant called time. You guys glorify being busy. Well, it's not about how busy you are. It's how what was productive, what actually counted. Was it meaningless what you're busy doing meaningless, or were you plugging along doing something purposeful? Okay. So people glorify busyness. They've made time this tyrant that controls their life. Okay. And even those who know me as their savior tend to march to the tempo of the world. They have bought into the illusion that more is always better. More meetings, more programs, more activity. But I have called you to follow me on a solitary path, making time alone with me your highest priority and your deepest joy. When spending time with me becomes a priority, all of a sudden it becomes your deepest joy. And if it becomes this deep joy that you need, you hear my voice and it's soothing and you're looking forward to this show. Your highest priority is this deep joy with me, this solitary path, taking time alone with me. It soothes your nerves. It's good for your brain. You need it. It's a pathway largely unappreciated and often despised. However, you have chosen the better thing, which will never be taken away from you. Now, as you walk close to me, I can bless others through you. Okay? And, whoa, come back here. The funniest thing is, I'm in these chat rooms all the time, chatting, talking with people. They're like, oh, he's coming soon. He's coming soon. I'm like, dude, you don't. He's closer than you think. I am nearer than you think. I am richly present in all your moments. You are connected to me by love bonds that nothing can sever. If you're connected to me through love, nothing can sever that. You are indeed connected to me by love bonds that nothing can sever. However, you may sometimes feel alone because your union with me is kind of invisible. So ask me to open your eyes so that you can find me everywhere. The more aware you are of my presence, the safer you feel. You better. That's what we're doing all this for. Because the more aware you are of my presence now here on this earth with you, the safer you feel. And this is not some sort of escape from reality. It is tuning into the ultimate reality. Now we are tuning into the ultimate reality. The spiritual realm, is for eternity. That's a long time. That's the ultimate reality. Here on this world, this is temporal. You're going to die eventually someday, right? Of old age. You're not going to live forever on this planet. Trust me, you're not going to live forever right here on this planet. You're eventually going to get old and pass away. So this existence on this planet is temporal. It's only temporary. It's very fleeting in the annals of time. Okay, so the spiritual realm is way more real than this Matrix movie basically that you're living in. You're a real life actor in. And when you ask me to open your eyes, you'll start to see me everywhere, okay? And the more aware you are of my presence, the safer you feel. Okay, it's tuning into the ultimate reality. What you guys need to understand is I am far more real than the world you can see, hear, and touch. Yeah, I am far more real than the physical world that you see, hear, and touch. I want to describe something to you, but let me finish this note right here. When you tune into this ultimate reality, and you finally realize that I am far more real than the world you see, hear, or touch. The faith is the confirmation of things we do not see and the conviction of their reality, perceiving as real fact what is not revealed to the senses. So we are perceiving real fact, this that's not really perceivable to your senses unless I point it out. It's confirmation of things that we used to not see. Now we see them. Okay. Now, I want to get back to the temporal world for a second. It's kind of important you guys understand this. I want you to think of time as a wooden wheel. You know what a wooden like wagon wheel is? Except this wooden wheel, this wooden wheel would circumnavigate the planet. It would go all the way around our planet, this big old wheel of wood. It would be like a rail that, say, went all the way across the planet, wrapped around, and hooked all the way back up. So we have a huge wooden wheel the size of our planet. And if you took a splinter out of all of that wood, just a small little splinter, I'm talking tens of hundreds of thousands of miles worth of wood, you just pull out one tiny little splinter out of that wood, and that's the amount of time that we have on this earth. It's just a splinter compared to that big old huge wheel of wood. Do you kind of grasp that concept right there? How minuscule this time frame is. It might seem long to you here on this earth. 100 years seems like forever, right? But in the annals of time, 100 years is a mere nanosecond. So in this one nanosecond, you are making a decision for the rest of eternity, for the rest of that wooden wheel. You're going to take that one sliver of wood and say, that's the whole wheel. Not all, this one wooden sliver is the entire wheel. No. You're just holding the sliver. You're standing on a wheel of wood that stretches around the world. That's how temporal and fleeting this world is. It's very quick and fast. Doesn't seem like it, but in the annals of history, in the annals of eternity, it's just a nanosecond. And in that nanosecond, you get to make the most important decision for the rest of the wooden wheel, for the rest of eternity. So I would say this is a pretty important sliver of time. And we're down to the sliver of the sliver, right? Because we're approaching the end of days here. That means we're at the very tip of the splinter now. Now, this kind of stuff will bring up anxiety. Okay? I know it does. And that's the battle we're trying to beat that anxiety. So it's important that you bring me all your feelings, even the ones you wish you didn't have, especially the ones you wish you didn't have. Those are the ones that need work on. Why are you going to bring me feelings that you're happy that you have? You can thank me for them, but why would you want to, discuss all these wonderful feelings that you're having? Just thank me for those. It's the ones you wish you didn't have. Those are the ones that we need to address. I know it's hard, but we need to address those for your mental health. So it's important that you bring me all your feelings, especially the ones you wish you didn't have. fear and anxiety still plague you. Feelings per se are not sinful, but they can be temptations to sin. Blazing missiles of fear fly at you day and night. These attacks from the evil one come at you relentlessly. So use your shield of faith now to extinguish those flaming arrows. Affirm your trust in me, regardless of how you feel. Okay, therein lies another test, is affirming your trust in me regardless of how you feel. Because sometimes we're pissed off at the moment and we're trying to salvage that day, and it's like, thank you, Lord, I trust you regardless of how I feel. And you're grinding your teeth and you're trying as hard as you can, as long as you are trying to affirm your trust in me regardless of how you feel. And if you persist, your feelings will eventually fall in line with your faith. Okay? But you have to persist. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes you can just go, oh, you know what? Let it go. I trust you. But other times it's really hard to let go and affirm your trust in me. And it's usually at those hardest times of how you're feeling, that's when you need to do it the most. It's when it's the hardest. So if you persist at doing that, your feelings will eventually fall in line with your faith. And your feelings you won't have those feelings anymore. Okay? Trust me. I can help you. All right? Affirm your trust in me, regardless how you feel, and if you persist, your feelings will fall in line with your faith. So don't hide from your fear, and don't pretend it isn't there. Anxiety that you hide in the recesses of your heart will give birth to the fear of fear. Now we've created a no monster, a monstrous stepchild of fear. It's the fear of fear now. So don't hide your fear or pretend it isn't there. Anxiety that you hide in the recesses of your heart give birth to the fear of fear, which is the new monstrous stepchild. So bring your anxieties now out into the light of my presence, where we can deal with them together. It's important you bring your anxieties out into the light of my presence so we can deal with them together. Come on now, time to deal with your issues. I will help you. We can deal with them together. Concentrate on trusting me, and fearfulness will gradually lose its foothold within you. You have this fearfulness within you. You concentrate on trusting me, their fearfulness within you will gradually lose its foothold. That was supposed to go. Okay, see, it's attached on the other side of this note. Okay, so now we've done that process. Okay. Bring your anxieties to me. Bring them into the light of my presence. Now that you know I'm here, you can do that. We deal with them together. You concentrate on trusting me, and fear loses its foothold within you. And then rest in my presence when you need refreshment. Resting is not necessarily idleness, as people often perceive it. But when you relax in my company, you are demonstrating trust in me. Trust is a rich word, laden with meaning and direction for your life. What gives meaning and direction for your life? Trust, laden with meaning and direction for your life. I want you to lean on, trust, and be confident in me, because when you lean on me for support, I delight in your trusting confidence. Many people turn away from me when they are exhausted. They associate me with duty and diligence. So they try to hide from my presence when they need a break from work. All right. A lot of people turn away from me when they're exhausted. They think they associate duty and diligence. They think I'm this taskmaster, and they try to hide from my presence when they need a break from work. And that saddens me. As I spoke to Isaiah, in returning to me and resting in me, you shall be saved. In quietness and trust shall be your strength. Do you see how it all applies now? How Isaiah understood that returning to me and resting in me, his day was saved. His life, he had a whole new outlook now. In returning to me and resting in me, you are saved. You've salvaged your day. And in quietness and trust is your strength now, right? Now that goes to another lecture. Yeah, that was our closing one right there. Let me go over this, just a couple reiterations here. Bring me all your feelings, especially the ones you didn't have. Bring me your anxieties. We're dealing with all of that together. Okay. What was the other one I said here that was important? Where did I go at? Oh, darn it. Did I get the other ones? Yeah, don't hide your fear. Pretend it isn't there. Anxiety that you hide in the recesses of your heart and mind give birth to fear. Bring me your anxieties. What the heck? Where'd that other one go? Important that you rest in my presence. Lean on, trust, and be confident in me. Return to me and rest, and you'll be saved. We're in the salvage business here. We're trying to, each day has its own trials and tribulations, right? And it's how well do you rescue your day? We're salvaging our days, and we're helping others salvage their days, right? And that's how you are a beacon of light and hope to others through me. I help you, you shine that light on through and help other people salvage their days as well. Okay. And it's an art. You'll find out each day has something new, and you found a new way to salvage your day, and you go to practice that one tomorrow, but it's a new challenge. You have to find a new way. So each day we have new treasures, new blessings, new challenges. Those challenges are the blessings. That's what's making you strong. That's what's giving you fortitude, intestinal fortitude. That's called guts. Back in my day, we used to call it having some guts. Intestinal fortitude, some courage, strength. Also have peace. You see all this crazy stuff going on around the world? Do not let it faze you. You have a foundation. You have a foundation which to fall back on, and you also have a solid foundation from which to build on now. It's not just something you fall back on, it's something you can build on now. All right? It's important that you share this with your friends and family if you want them saved. You know, a simple thing like this could really change a person's mind. Go, I might reconsider now, where before there was just some people you can't reach. But anyways, I'm glad you guys are here. I hope you enjoyed the show. I love you all. I miss you all. God bless you all. And until my next show, I will be back. I am already back. And I'm still to come. See you soon. Bye.